morning, everyone. We're back with more Barnstable This Morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, Town Manager Mark Ells. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning,
How are you?
sir. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
It's nice to get a little rain this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, 3:30. I heard it.
Yeah, I think the plants and the grass are very grateful to have a little bit of that.
I think you're right.
We need it. So let's start, Mark. Of course, looking for a person to fill the position of assistant town manager. The job posting went up last week. Tell me a little bit about what qualities you are looking for in an assistant town manager.
Certainly the ability to communicate with the organization, with our public, with other communities, the state. A big part of what you do at this senior level of management is communicate and make decisions, quite honestly. And so I need to make sure that whoever takes the position is a good communicator and has the ability to understand the issues that Barnstable faces and can assist me in moving forward with whatever the issue is at any given time. One of the great opportunities that I had as assistant town manager was to work really in parallel with the former town manager, so that for the most part, I was at least knowledgeable on issues within our organization, and in many cases made the final recommendations for the ultimate decision that was made. And that was very valuable for a whole bunch of reasons. I think it strengthens our management team. We very much manage that way in Barnstable. Each of our respective department heads are besides being senior level managers, are experts in what they do, and so their input in the process of decision making and their ability to communicate, in many cases, very complex issues to our public. And so you got to be able to take it from complex and people who work with it every day and go out to groups of people who don't necessarily know the issue. They very much come at it from their understanding of it, but you've got to be able to communicate in a way that people will understand what the message is that you're trying to convey. So ideally, I'd like to get somebody with strengths in those areas, somebody who has a commitment to public service, somebody who has an understanding of what it is to be a senior level manager, and the types of skills and the types of characteristics that you need to bring forward in that sort of leadership role. So I've posted it internally and externally, and I expect to get a good field of candidates, and we'll move forward from there.
Great. What's your timeline for appointing a new assistant town manager?
I hope to have somebody here in the second quarter of this fiscal year, so between October and the end of the year.
Great. And so, and again, seeing how the assistant town manager not just supports, what you do, but also they're going to kind of have some departments that they'll be in charge of, and some direct reports as well. As a kind of, you're working on thinking a little bit about reorganizing the management structure there a little bit.
I am. Formally, there was an assignment. It was actually a dual title that the assistant town manager had, and it was the administrative department head and the assistant town manager. And so really what that meant was legal, HR, finance, and IT all fell under the assistant town manager. What I envision is a little bit different than that. We've got to be careful of how many people report to us, because at a certain point we render ourselves ineffective.
Sure.
So I can't have everybody, certainly, you wouldn't want to have everybody coming directly to the town manager. So my thoughts are that we would put regulatory services, planning, economic development, asset management under the assistant town manager, and still a direct report through the assistant to the town manager. It doesn't diminish any accessibility to the town manager. Those are areas where we need some reorganization. And not that it's problematic, but I just think it can function even better than it does, and put some priority on it, and so, and also reduce the span of control that the manager has, in a sense, because, like I said, you can't get to everything, so you really need to think about that. The police, the Public Works Department, Community Services, and then those other support staff, those administrative staff, departments would all still be direct reports to the town manager. And we meet on a regular basis. I mean, we have a pretty organized regime of Monday mornings are really staff meetings for us, starting with our school department and human resources and finance and myself. We meet every Monday morning with the school superintendent and her team. Then we move into senior staff meetings, and then we do a little summary at the end of that for kind of the legal, finance, HR, and town manager's office to do just a half an hour at the end. And that's very helpful in planning how we're going to go forward daily, weekly, monthly, annually. So.
Absolutely. And so if folks are interested, I know the job is posted now online, townofbarnstable.us, right there under employment.
Absolutely, and if you have any questions, reach out, and I'll be more than happy to speak with people about it. And it's a very important position. In the event that I'm not here, it's the person who will step up on some basis and lead our community from a management perspective. So certainly our council needs to be comfortable and confident in this position, our employees and our community. So we're looking for the right person for that position.
Wonderful. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Armory. Of course, this has been town property for many years now, gone through a couple of bid processes, a lot of different ideas. I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the Armory building, but I hear that we are gearing up for another RFP process.
We are. Actually, I wanted it out before today, but I think this week it'll be out for RFP. The Armory is on South Street, as many of you know, behind Town Hall. It has historic significance. It's an asset that the community acquired decade and a half ago at this point, and unfortunately it's been used minimally, primarily for dry storage and some events that really didn't require the facilities that a municipal building would offer.
Sure.
It's more open space that's indoors, the way it's been used. So the barriers there to occupy that are primarily what you said, that it needs improvement. It needs all new systems in interior. I think the physical structure, the roof, and the physical building are well built and in good condition. But windows, certainly all the bathrooms need to be upgraded. There are some hazmat requirements within it to remove asbestos and some other issues. It needs to be upgraded. It's vintage the year it was built, so there needs to be improvements made. We've gone through several RFPs. I believe again the barrier is the capital costs that'll be associated with this, so we're looking to go out and lease the facility. And we would include in that we're looking for both capital improvements to be made by the tenant, and we're looking for some revenue to be derived. We're also looking for it to be consistent with our arts and culture and downtown environment. So the proposals would need to be, again, consistent with that. We do have some limitations on who we can lease to. If we want to go out to a for-profit, we'd have to go back to the state legislature and get approval for that.
Sure.
We went through that process and actually have approval when the last proposal came in for a particular museum.
Right.
But it was a for-profit museum, so we just can't enter into that lease. So that will add time to the process if the proposal that we want to move forward with is something other than a municipal or a nonprofit use.
Sure, we'll really would look forward to that. And I know that there have been several kind of initiatives across the country where these older Armory buildings have been repurposed into arts and cultural centers. So it would be nice to see something like that, but certainly it definitely is a wonderful facility, and with the right investment could really be another enhancement to our downtown.
I agree, and we're going to build in the way that you do this in putting out the RFP is you rate the answers that people give, and then you try to find which proposal is most advantageous for your particular location. And part of it will be looking at the Armory parking lot, and depending on what the proposals are, can we use it still during peak month, July through Labor Day? Right now it has historic significance, and the JFK Museum has been in contact with pretty much anybody who's proposed anything. They're looking to keep that legacy trail and at least the entryway appropriate, relevant to its historic significance. And we've had some other local vendors, local nonprofits interested in having some type of presence there. So I think whoever is interested and proposes will probably be reached out to by the different groups in the Maritime Museum and the JFK Museum, but perhaps more. I don't know if they'll come in a collective proposal together, but certainly we're looking to hold with those things that we already have existing in our community. So.
Great. So hoping to put that RFP out at some point this week.
I'd like to see it posted this week. Yeah.
Excellent. Last thing I want to talk about, of course, Friday right here at the Village Green at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be a Unity Day celebration, kind of bringing our community together, showing support of unity.
Yes, I think it's wonderful. Anytime we can bring our community together, it's a good thing. I know the Greater Hyannis Civic Association just had a little event down at Calmus Beach. It's wonderful. I got to stop by that and say hello. I'll do the same this Friday. And I think it's an opportunity to show the good things that Barnstable and its community are doing. There's so many negatives out there, but we're not one of them. It's that simple, and I think bringing everyone together on the green this Friday night will just illustrate that. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the people who are hosting it. I know our police department is a active part in this, and no surprise, they do such a great job for us. So I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, Mark, thank you so much for stopping by, and we will check in with you again on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Ells, of course, our town manager. Coming up next, our superintendent of schools. But first, let's find out if those fish are biting. Captain Gary Brown has today's Barnstable This Morning.